Hello, and welcome to Manda and Mom. Today, let's talk about Meatless Monday and Taco Tuesday. I have a couple of my absolute favorite recipes that are delicious that I would like to share with you. Please excuse the sound. I think I've gone from a sinus infection to now it's just allergies with this crazy weather. A couple of weeks ago, we were all in snowsuits because it was so cold and we had so much snow and wind. And last week it was so warm, I had to pull out my summer clothes and I was wearing sandals and paddle pushers, and now it's getting cold again. And every time it rains or snows and then it gets warm, all the mold. So I think I'm at allergies. So please forgive, I may sneeze. And I sneeze so hard sometimes tears come just because I sneezed. It's really crazy. Meatless Monday and Taco Tuesday. If you have not tried tofu, if you think that you don't like it, this is one of the recipes I would suggest that you try. There are many that you could try. You can actually just shred it, send it through a grater, and season it and put it in the oven and cook it, and it kind of gets a little crispy. There's all kinds of ways to do it, but I am going to do, Romana calls it a schmicken, no, a schmish, and so you're gonna need some extra firm tofu. I think I got this at Aldi's, $2, $2.50, and it will make 4 sandwiches. The most important part is the marinade. So I'm gonna put together the marinade, and I'm gonna, where's my knife? I'm gonna cut this, and you're gonna drain it, and this is the extra firm. So you can squeeze it or not squeeze it. It doesn't matter. It comes in water. It definitely needs to be drained. You hear it draining. And I'm gonna squeeze mine because I also, when I use tofu, well, depends on what type of tofu, what I'm gonna do with it. But for this recipe and for a lot of recipes, the tofu comes home and it goes in the freezer. It freezes and those ice crystals form inside the tofu and they make little holes. And then you take the tofu out, you let it thaw, and you squeeze it and you get all the water out of all those little holes, and then those holes just kind of suck up all of the flavor. And it really makes your tofu more flavorful. Really, tofu doesn't taste like anything on its own. It's kind of one of those blank slates like oatmeal. You can give it any flavor you like. So, I forgot to figure out how I'm gonna put some weight on this to drain all the water. I'll be right back. Editor Mom here. As it said in the video, it was gonna be Meatless Monday and Taco Tuesday. I didn't realize how much time it was gonna take to do one recipe. And so even though I said it's gonna be Meatless Monday and Taco Tuesday, it's just gonna be a Meatless Monday recipe, or vegan fish fillet recipe, and we'll have to do Taco Tuesday some other time. Excuse me, coffee. But be sure and hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss the Taco Tuesday, because I have a recipe that is much, much cheaper than hamburger. And I have, the first time I made it, I fed it to meat eaters and they thought it was hamburger. It's that good. It's that good. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for all your likes. Thanks for all your comments. And I'm probably going to put this in the front of the video, and it could be in the back too, but probably going to put this in the front. But we do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope you like this recipe. It's one that I like. Manda says it's one of the best that I make. What I did, the tofu is in there wrapped in a paper towel. It's got a towel around it, and then it's got my biggest, heaviest cast iron on it. I'm just gonna let it sit for a couple minutes. So to make the marinade, 1 cup of vegetable broth. I use a powdered mix and just mixed it with water. And it actually calls for nori and kelp. I don't have that. All I have is some seaweed snacks, so that's what I'm gonna put in. Some miso paste. That's really gonna give it some really deep umami flavor. Some nutritional yeast. That nutritional powerhouse goes in. And some dill. It calls for fresh. I don't have fresh. I'm gonna use dried. And what I do with my dried herbs is I'll just rub them in my hand. It's kind of like putting them in the oil and blooming them. Just kind of give them some pressure against each other so they go, oh, they release more of their flavor. This one is rice wine vinegar. And some caper brine. If you've never used capers, they're really salty. They're part of a flour. They come in a little jar. They're a little tiny, round, look like seeds, and it just the brine off of it, just the liquid. You'd probably put a few in there. It wouldn't matter. You're not gonna eat them. And you mix that all up, and I'm just gonna use a plastic bag. And then we're gonna get our tofu ready. Now for me, cutting the tofu, because it's a solid block, it's dry now, and when you see all those holes in there, when you freeze it, it helps me. I'll show you when it's cut it in the inside. The size of your bread or the size of your bun is going to help decide how you're going to cut these. I have small bread and small buns for me, so usually they just would slice it 1, 2, 3 across this way. My buns are not that big, so we're going to do something different. I'm going to cut off the end about that much, and I'm going to make some sticks, some fish sticks for 1 sandwich, 2, 4, and about that big. That'll make 1 sandwich. I have little small breads that I'm going to put these on. I'm going to cut it once down the middle. Hold on to it, just cut slow. It should still hold together. This is why you use the extra firm, and there's even super firm that you can use, because you do want it to hold together. And then you're going to cut each one of those halves into half so that we get 4. You could leave it at 2 if you wanted, but that's really thick for even if it was a piece of fish. So we're going to do 4. And now we're just going to place them in the marinade. Make sure they get all covered. So I'm going to put in one at a time. I'm going to slosh them around. You want the whole stuff. Pick up all that flavor. There's the third one. And I'll put these others in here and mix them up. And then we're going to let these sit for a little while. And we'll get our dredge mixes for the coating on the outside. I'm going to put my little fishy stickies in there too, and get the little marinade. Your tofu, maybe like if you didn't freeze it or you wanted thicker fillets, you can actually score the tofu. Just don't cut all the way through it. That will help. But I froze mine, so I just put it in straight. Also, this is not like a piece of chicken. It's tofu. You can put it in the refrigerator and let hang out overnight if you want. I would soak for at least an hour and because I have a container that they're not all on the flat surface, which I could, you know, scoot them around and do that. I'm gonna turn it over every once in a while just to make sure it all gets saturated. So you can decide how long you want it to soak, at least an hour, but up to overnight, 24 hours. I've actually forgotten about mine. I left it in the fridge and it's been fine. Okay, for the dry dredge is flour, garlic, onion, some baking powder, and some salt, or I use seasoned salt. I'm gonna mix that all up. You wanna mix it until it's all basically the same color. You don't want to see any solid spots of, well, for me the seasoned salt has paprika in it, so you don't want to see any red. It just becomes, and it's not white like flour anymore. And then the wet dredge is a couple tablespoons of flour, and I forgot, tablespoons of flour, some milk, put that in and mix that up, and then you add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and mix that up. It's going to be a little, I say slurry, kind of wet, a little bit thick, but you don't want it as thick as pancake batter. See? And I like to use these square pans because they have more surface area on the bottom, and I can lay the tofu pieces in there flat. So we have a dry mix, flour, some baking soda, a little seasoning, a wet mix, some water. I actually added water to cream to make milk, and some apple cider vinegar. It'll give it more of a buttermilk flavor, a little bit of flour in that one. And then you have your crumbs. I am going with some gluten-free crackers and some cornmeal. I like cornmeal, not a complete cornmeal covering for fish, but I like the crunch that it gives it. And my mom and dad have always done a combination of flour or cracker, or you could use potato chips. All kinds of things you could use to make crumb. I just like the way that the I think the cornmeal gives it a little more of a crunch. So, and they're all in their flat pans, and my fillets are in, yes, they're in they're in the fridge, and I've flipped them over a couple of times, and it's been over an hour. As you can hear, the pan is heating up, so we're going to dip each one in the flour to dry it off, and then you're going to dip it in the wet one so that it has the sticky stuff on the outside. And then you're going to put it in the crumbs. It's going to make a nice crust on the outside, and then we're going to put it in a hot skillet. Here are the fillets. I'm going to take them out and dry them off just a little bit, and then we'll start putting them in the different mixtures. They are very, very wet. So you're going to need some paper towels. And just pat them dry a little bit. Toss those in the trash, and it goes in the flour. And you're gonna have one hand should be for dry and one hand should be for wet, because otherwise you're gonna have club fingers. But it's got all that flour on it. And this is gonna be our wet one. And you want to get the sides. You kind of squish it around in the pan. Get it to get all the sides and the top. Of course, everywhere where you touch it is like it's gonna, your batter's gonna disappear. And then you want to kind of let it drain a little bit. without letting it fall apart. Mine's about to fall apart. So this is gonna be quick. I'm gonna take it from here, put it in the breadcrumbs. Already got my pan heated. You could do these in the air fryer. You could do them in the oven. I don't like our air fryer. I don't think it gives it enough crisp. Kind of just dries it out. So, ooh, my fire's too hot, too hot. So, I have this. Be sure and lay it in the pan down, and then lay it away from you. It's gonna splatter. I'll show you in the other direction. And these little ones, put it in the flour, and we're gonna dredge it in the wet. Come on, roll over. Let it drip. Put it in the crumbs. You gotta roll them or pick them up. And then you're gonna lay them in the flour and let it go away from you. Look at that crust. It's gonna be so yummy. You can buy or make you some vegan mayonnaise. I just threw in some pickles, sweet or dill, whichever you like. Some seasoned salt, some garlic, some pepper, and you can eat them just like this. And I think it's really the tartar sauce, the combination of them. Sorry about that light. For a good crunch, you could put them on hamburger bun, put a piece of cheese on them, like the one you get in the drive-thru, or even just like that. It does take a few steps. It's something you're gonna have to think about before you make it. If you happen to be home one day, you want to start at lunchtime or 4 o'clock, so you have time. Sorry, that's Mac. You have time to let them marinate. You could do it on a Sunday night and have it for Monday. And you could have, I don't know what that noise was. So you could have these for your Meatless Monday meal.